Good morning. I need to talk to you about meetings. I'm coming at you from the corner of my living room today because Levi and me are getting a train to London in a few hours, so I've not got time to go into the office. We're going to just look at the stats first. We're going to look at the stats first because this is what I've spent my morning doing and it has shocked me. The average employee, if you are working in a business that has more than 1,000 members of staff, we are spending on average 13 hours a week in meetings. If you're doing a 37-hour work week, that's a third of your time. But the problem is that is not just, we're not just missing out on that one block of time, because I don't know about you, but when I was spending so let's say a third, let's go with a third of our working day, when I was spending a third of my working day in meetings, it's not just about the physical time that you are sat in that meeting, listening or presenting or whatever you're doing. It's the fact that if I have a meeting at 10, I've actually got a meeting at 10 o'clock this morning. I have a meeting at 10, I struggle to get stuck into any deep focus work before that. So you've got a meeting 10 till 11, our brain needs time to sort of process. If we're doing deep work, we need to get into it and have space and freedom mentally to be able to get stuck into it. And if you've got a meeting at 10 or even half 10, 11 o'clock, it kind of just slashes that focus in half, and you're more likely to come in and think, okay, I've got a meeting at 10, so I'll just spend this first hour, doing emails, or I'll just check in on this project and see how it's going, instead of thinking, okay, what deep project focus work, and that's the kind of work that actually moves the needle, by the way, what of that work can we get stuck into? And so for me, spending a third of our time in meetings isn't just about the actual time that we lose, it's about the structure of a day and the psychology around deep focus as to why it is imperative that we get these meetings down. And I'm going to give you a few ways of how you can do that. Before I get into this, I've built out something that I call my meet or move framework. So I actually built this out years and years ago as a way for my team to not get stuck in pointless meetings. But then as the years have gone on, I've really just refined this and made it as useful as possible, so we know exactly what meetings we want to be in, which ones we should move, and it just helps me to refocus and make sure that I am working on important things. And if you want that, just go to the description thingy on this video and download it for free. As managers, and you may not like what I'm about to say here, but this was me, so I'm not accusing you, I'm accusing myself. We love to spend time in meetings without thinking we do, because firstly, it gives us the illusion of control. It's like this sense of when I am involved in things, when I get a say on things, when I get to approve things, when I just get to see my team doing the work or see another team doing the work, it gives us this illusion that we are somehow more in control. Maybe it's in control of the project, or maybe it's in control of our career. And we really have to be aware of that as a concept if we're going to try and get these meetings down. The illusion of control is actually a really powerful psychological concept. There was a psychologist called Ellen Langer back in the 70s who did an entire study on this. She basically separated people into two groups and played the same game with both of them. So the game was roll the dice and see who gets highest, and you had to try and you had to guess what the outcome of your dice roll was going to be. Now, the only difference between these two groups was one group rolled their own dice and the other group had someone else roll the dice for them. Now, that variable actually makes no difference to the outcome of what's going to happen. So it makes no difference to how high the numbers are. We cannot control the roll of a dice. However, when people thought they were in control, so the group of people who rolled their own dice would, on average, score themselves way higher and say they were more likely to get a double six or the high up numbers because of the illusion of control, because they thought just by having those dice in their own hand, they were much more likely to get a better outcome. However, we know, looking at that study objectively, both of those groups of people are going to get a very similar set of numbers, because there is no way, obviously, we can determine what's coming out on a dice. When I became aware of that and kind of mapped it out into my management role, everything just changed, because I started to see that I thought by being in these meetings, by doing the approvals, by making decisions on projects, I was somehow more in control of the outcome of that project or that thing being better. What I didn't see was the fact that I wasn't the closest person to the problem. The experts, the people who were in my team, the junior people who weren't in management roles, they were closest to the problem, whether that is people in my support team who were closer to the customers, whether it was people in the dev team who were closer to the product. They were closer to a problem and therefore better to make decisions. It shouldn't be me approving, it shouldn't be me overlooking just in case. The other thing there is you're going to slow it down. by having these layers of like meetings and approvals and checking in and blah, 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 we actually slow it down. So we're almost taking like what we thought was making something better by controlling it more, having more people's eyes on it, having more approvals. Just by adding those layers in, it's no doubt going to be worse. It's not even going to be the same, it's going to be worse because the people closest to the problem aren't making the decisions. They therefore aren't empowered to make those decisions day to day. So we have to let go of that control. And just with part of that, a lot of meetings come, and with that, a lot of meetings come with it. So like, if it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel more comfortable, just look at your calendar this week and think, are there 3 meetings? Let's do that as a challenge. Is there 3 meetings that instead of me actually being in there and making decisions and whatever else, can I just ask a team member to give me a really quick roundup of what happened and what decisions were made? On a more practical level, a tool that I actually use is called Loom. I don't know if anyone uses it. It's just a Chrome extension and I've saved myself so many meetings by using Loom because you literally just screen record and then send it to the person. And so maybe you've got like a 5-minute thing you want to say and you know it's important to sort of get across your body language, show them a few different screens, and ordinarily that would have been a meeting. But I can now just click on my Loom Google Chrome extension, record my screen, talk for 5 minutes, and send it to them. And then they get to watch it in their own time. Like they get to prioritize their own time and decide when they can watch it. It saves us both a meeting. The same thing still gets done. And that's another way practically that I've really reduced meetings. I speak to managers, hundreds and hundreds of them directly every single week, whether it's on webinars, coaching, in workshops, on social media, where I speak to hundreds, if not thousands, every single week. And one of the biggest challenges that I get asked about all the time is, you know, Heather, you talk about all these great leadership principles, one-on-ones, you talk about accountability, KPIs, empowerment, delegation, blah, blah, all this fun stuff. But conflict, how we manage conflict. But the problem is, I don't have time to do any of it because I am managing all that, managing a team, managing the conflicts, all the fun stuff that comes along with managing a team. But I also have my job to do. Like I have an actual job to do, the job that I had to do before I was managing a team. And I just don't have time to do it all. And when I speak to these people, the first question is, show me your calendar. How many meetings are you in a week? Because I guarantee if you are part of that statistic that's 1/3 of their time is taken up by meetings, and some of you are going to be watching this like it's actually more than that because the sliding scale with that statistic was juniors are in less meetings, seniors, like the more senior you get up in the organization, the more meetings you have. So actually it's probably higher for managers. Whilst ever you are in those meetings, that's why you're struggling for time. That's why you can't prioritize because you're saying yes to all of this big time waster. Another statistic that was in there was like 50% of people in virtual meetings are doing other things while they're in it. They're multitasking. Do you know how upset that makes me? If you are sat in a meeting today and you are doing something else while you're in there, you don't need to be in it. And I know we think like if the meeting comes from someone senior to us, if it comes from our boss, if it comes from, I don't know, a senior in a different part of the organization, that means we have to say yes to it because they have the authority, they're above us or whatever. But actually, a lot changed for me in leadership when I started saying no to my seniors because if you don't respect your own time, they're not going to respect it either. And when you're in a management role, when you get this senior position, you have to show that you take charge of your own shit. Like you have to show other people, like I am in a management position now. I prioritize my own time. I get to decide my own time. And there will be 1 or 2 meetings that you're in with your boss that are important and, you know, you need them to move forward in the week, etc. But the rest of it, don't just show your face because you have to, like, because you think you have to. Just prioritize and say, look, I've got these 10 things on my plate at the minute. They are priority. By being in this meeting, it is really going to take my focus off of those. And I need us to keep moving forward with these projects so we can hit X, Y, or Z KPI, or so we can hit the goals that you want me to, that these seniors want me to hit. And if I don't start saying no to meetings, I am not going to be able to get there. I'm not going to be able to get us there as a team. And I know managing up and having like seniors who don't respect us and wouldn't appreciate that, we're going to annoy them in the moment. Like we're going to upset them in the moment because we're essentially taking something away from them and saying like our time is valuable. I'm taking it back. I'm taking it back from you who keep stealing it from me. But that's how you build respect over time, guys. Like you've got 2 choices going back to You choose the short-term approval, which is saying yes, giving them your time, making them happy, not annoying them in the moment. But short-term approval is the killer of long-term respect, because whilst ever you keep saying yes and giving you and them that dopamine hit, what you don't realize is over time, you are ruining the respect that you have over yourself, that you have over your own time, that they therefore have over you and your own time. Respect, we love to talk about how respect is earned. The best way to get respect and earn respect from other people is to respect yourself. People see that and people take note, and it, like, other people pick up on it and they do it, they respect you, etc. So that's it. Go and download the Meet and Move framework that's in the description here. And just as a challenge to you, like 3 or 4 meetings this week, how can we get rid of them? That's all. Have an amazing week, guys. Bye.